Now, no one can deny that since Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over as president of Nigeria, his APC party has dominated the political space in this country, reducing the opposition to a mere sideshow. In fact, the scale and pace of that domination has left the collective opposition and many Nigerians dizzy, as ever more elected opposition officials rush to defect to the APC. The president and his deputies gloatingly see it as them outwitting the competition and accruing to themselves an unassailable lead in 2027. But as we consider the risks of the opposition steadily slipping ever closer into oblivion in a race that prioritizes command and control over democratic stability, should Nigerians be giving the ruling party high marks for this? Or should we be nervous and alarmed at the potential consequences for constitutional representative government in this country? And by how much has the APC actually moved this country forward since it came into power more than 10 years ago? Well, for more on all this, I'm suitably delighted to say that I'm joined now in the studio by Senator Adams Oshiomhole, CON, who represents Edo North in the Senate, is a former national chairman of the APC and is a former governor of Edo State. Good to see you. I
was also former president of Nigeria Labour Congress.
That's a good point.
That is my most important job in life.
I like that. Yes, you certainly have that credential, and you deserve to be. It deserves to be mentioned along with your name.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, sir.
And given that you yourself were once the national chairman of the APC, let me start by asking you for your reaction to the emergence of Professor Nentawe Yilwatda as the new national chairman of the APC.
I think it's quite exciting. First, you know, as a former labor leader, I need to remind you that there is no, the labor laws in Nigeria does not allow for forced labor.
Right.
And so we had a situation where my very good friend, former colleague, former governor of Kano State, and later chairman of APC, for personal reasons, had to resign.
Right.
And there can be no vacuum. And because of the way in which our political system is structured, and try to be sensitive to the feelings of our party members and the Nigeria people, you know, in other climes, it will not matter. If the chairman leaves, the deputy chairman takes over. That is actually what an ideal political system should be. But in order to sustain the diversity of the political leadership, you have to ensure that if one chairman leaves, because that place is zoned to a particular part of the country,
right,
you make effort to replace it with somebody from that side. And that means going beyond the normal routine of a deputy, you know, having to act in the absence of the substantive office holder. So that vacancy arose from the resignation of former chairman, Gaduje, former governor of Kano State. And it was important that position is filled. If he wasn't filled immediately, people are going to want to say, you know, in Borno State, you have the vice president. Borno also have the deputy national they also have the national chairman of the party. And before you know it, it became a big issue. So I think the party acted proactively by calling an emergency national executive council meeting. I said, look, we have to fill this vacancy and do a lot of behind-the-scene consultation to say, okay, if we must fill the vacancy, who, where does it come from, and how do we ensure the balance, take into account all the Nigeria geopolitical sensitivities. And
so behind the scenes, arm twisting, more like
I won't use the word arm twisting. Behind the scene consultation.
Right.
Because the truth of the matter is, in the best of democracy, even before the vote are casted, people campaign. Those campaigns include the one you see on television and the one you never see on television.
Indeed.
And so the outcome is what you saw. That unanimity is the result of, you see everybody clapping, nobody shouting nay. It shows that a corporate job has been done. And then the young man is well prepared for the job, if you ask me. You know, although in the past, you know.
Well, I was going to come to that, because he is, of course, compared to you and compared to Ganduje, quite mild-mannered and very laid back. I mean, you guys are a little more bullish. Do you think he has the kind of backbone and toughness to take on the rough and tumble of internal APC politics as well as the wider Nigerian political landscape? Or is he likely to be something of a lapdog for President Tinubu, which some have suggested is why he's been chosen? In fact, some people have said Tinubu essentially appointed him.
Well, that's not correct. Even what you said about me, I'm not sure that is complimentary. Bullish and all
bullish is not in a negative way. Not in a negative way.
It may be, but the point is that unwittingly, APC was beginning to establish, as though it's a tradition, that you must first be a governor and out of office as a governor before you become the chairman of APC. It just happened that the first founding chairman who laid a very solid foundation in a very complex, complicated circumstances, like, I mean, former governor of Oshiomhole State, BC Akande, was a former governor. And then when we had the first convention, Oyegu was a former governor for only 2 years. And then after Oyegu's tenure of 4 years, I also had become a former governor, and I came in through a convention, and I became the chairman. And then there was some confusion in the party. I was removed in the manner I was removed. And then another chairman was brought in as a caretaker from Yobe State. And even that one was a city governor. And then thereafter, you had the former governor Abdullahi, who again had to resign after President Tinubu came in. And then Gaduje took over, again, former governor. So I think it was even important, even for the optics, to reassure party members that there is no position that is reserved for. Exclusive. You have to be a former governor. Yeah. No. I think that point has been very well made by the choice of
but I mean,
this gentleman.
I have to say that, and maybe it's just...
Now, as for your layback, too early to say. Too early to say. You can't know anyone until you give him...
Yeah, that's a good point.
Until you give him
a fair
the key
point
to the vehicle,
that's a fair point.
Looks.
Yeah, can be deceiving.
Can be quite misleading. I mean, if you look at me, I'm very smallish. How could you use the kind of what you use for me? I can't bully anyone.
Yeah, but because you've had
fragile-looking man.
Yes, but because you've had a long track record, first of all, of being in the labor unions and then becoming governor, and so I mean, people kind of see you in a completely different light.
And I have a unique experience, but however, just to go straight to the point, I bet that the gentleman is bringing on board his own unique experience, right? Sometimes it's good not to... first, it's important for party members. This is important. To be reassured that there are no position is reserved for people who have necessarily occupied certain position before. It is important that every party member feels he or she can become the national chairman or the overall chief executive officer of the party.
No, I understand that. You made that point. But I have to say that I was sitting with some quite prominent Nigerians yesterday, and they seem to, and these are people who are not, they don't have any political sort of biases, but they said and I noticed the same thing, he looked almost frightened when he was delivering his speech. I mean, that there seemed to be fear and almost, like, oh my God, what have I inherited?
You're right. I can explain that. If you look at between the time the former chairman resigned voluntarily, and when we had to have, because there can be no vacuum, to have a new chairman in his person, I think it's barely about 2-3 weeks.
Indeed.
So obviously, I don't think he was aware that this was going to be a possibility, maybe a week earlier. And maybe for the first time, being the #1 man of the party, and if you watch, and I think that was deliberate, the president's protocol, when he was going to address us, he said, the national chairman of the party, to remind everyone that it's the party that gave birth to the government. Right? And now he's sitting next to the #1 citizen of the country. Obviously, that's a huge elevation.
Indeed.
And he needs time to adjust to that. And then minutes later, he's asked to make a speech. Obviously, this is not an election you have been prepared, unlike me, that I had to campaign, I had to persuade those who were go to contest against me, and so on and so forth. So I have, in a sense, addressed my mind to the possibility that I might be successful in the election. He didn't have that privilege. Just like you be called upon now. If you calling me now, when I saw two people here, I said, I hope it just a setup. If you want me to debate with this gentleman, then I don't know what the issues are.
And they're two pretty tough gentlemen.
I know them very well. I know them very well. Both in and out of tube. So I think the first, you will agree, Vice President is a level-headed person. And the party do need someone with some level of patience. The patience to listen. But also, not being a former governor, right? People should feel free to be able to talk to him like any other party leader. Not feeling, that was governor who used to have power. You know, I think it has its own advantages. I think it's his humility, if you ask me, that I saw. Not a laid back, no.
Right.
Don't forget that he is a professor. So not just a lecturer. And to be a professor, he has had to acquire a PhD. He has lectured and tutored and mentored younger ones. So he has his pedigree behind him. So he's not exactly a newcomer to leadership. He has led in academic, he has led in other.
Well, I think your assessment has been quite balanced. So what we've got to do now is taste the pudding.
That's right.
And see how it tastes.
As English man will say, the sweetness of the pudding is in the eating.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well,
let me eating it already because I saw our members happy, jubilating that at least we broke the jinx that people were beginning to say, if you want to be governor of APC, sorry, chairman of APC, you have to first be a governor.
Yeah.
Now that has been
I think you've made that point. But let's move on from there. And I want to, given that we're talking about governorships and things, I mean, what do you think of this development in your home state of Edo, where you were once the governor, and where the current governor, Monday Okpebholo, effectively gave Peter Obi, a former governor himself and 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, a warning that he must obtain security clearance before visiting the state? Do you agree with those who say that that is a baseless and almost politicizing of charity, as Peter Obi himself put it?
Not at all.
Do you think there's merit in what Mr. Okpebholo was saying?
I think the media tried to exaggerate it. You know, people who don't talk too much, they have to choose how they want to communicate. The essential message is clear. But let me tell you this.
Right.
Peter Obi was my colleague, and we know each other very well. And I liked him. I still do. But politically, we don't agree. I do not subscribe to his views and certain matters. Now, let me tell you this. On the 4th or 3rd of June, I was invited by Academic Staff Union of Universities of University of Nigeria, Nsukka, to deliver a lecture. And that is in Enugu State. I was once a governor. I'm no longer a governor. I know what the protocol is. It's not written. It's a matter of common sense and a matter of decency, but also in my latest self-interest. I told my orderly, can you get the phone number of, can I reach the governor of Enugu State? Because I don't have his number. He said he doesn't have to go and look for it. Eventually, he was able to get the ADC. And he got the ADC, and he gave me the phone, and I spoke to the ADC. ADC, please, can you connect me with the governor? I want to speak with him. He said, it's not available. Okay. Can you help me convey a message? That I have this invite, which I have accepted to honor, and I will be coming to Enugu tomorrow or next tomorrow. I will be grateful if the His Excellency is informed of my visit. Number 2, I will be even more happy if he can assist me with a vehicle and to provide me with security from the airport to Nsukka. There is no law in Nigeria that says I must do that. But having been a governor, even though now no more a governor, I understand that the governor of Enugu State needs to know I am in his territory. Not that the Nigerian Constitution says I should say so. It's a matter of personal discipline and protocol. When I was governor of Edo State, President Olusegun Obasanjo, if you do remember President Olusegun Obasanjo,
indeed,
you remember that he was described
nobody can ever forget President Obasanjo
as behaving as alternate president. And running NSC like a parallel government, wanted to overthrow his government. He accused me of treason. So we were not best of friends. But there was nothing personal. It's just that I questioned and I fought against some of his policies. But when, after being president, I now became governor, and even at that, I believe I was rigged out of, not that I believe, I was rigged out by his party, the PDP, under a policy of do or die. But I went to court and I defeated his party, and I was sworn in as former president of Nigeria. Not just for a former governor, former president of Nigeria that command the amount of respect that you have acknowledged. He was coming to Edo. He informed me that I would be coming to Edo. And he said he was going to do X, Y, Z. Okay. And he would like to see me. Oh, fine. So we arrange, get vehicle to the airport to receive him, to accord him all the necessary respect, provide all the logistics he required, as well as security. And he even humbled me by coming to my residence. And immediately asked him, why are you here? He said, this is Obasanjo now, to quote, whoever you think you are, when you are going to a state, there is a constitutional authority in that state, and you are a politically exposed person. It is just normal and out of respect that you go, even if that person is your grandson, to say, Mr. Governor, I am in your territory. That is why he has come to inform me he's in Edo and to share with me what somebody wants to do, and for me to accord him on respect. But that's where it should be. So all that, now let's face it, the property of Edo State government is trusted in the hand of Edo State governor. Right? So if anyone, myself inclusive, and I believe you inclusive, if I go to Enugu State or Anambra State when Obi was governor, and I want to visit a government-owned facility like a NOSI institution, it's a matter of decency and self-respect to say, I'll be coming, I'll be visiting not a private facility. That school is built, equipped, and owned and funded by the state government 100%. So Peter Obi's handout is not any way compared to what the government institutionally provide every year in the budget to support that institution.
Well, let me come in here.
It doesn't matter the fact that he has good intention. But Obi as a former governor shouldn't allow that to
I understand what you mean.
So maybe what you might argue is how you interpret choice of words. But the intention of Governor Monday is clear to me. Well, please, if you are coming, it's just nice that you inform me. If you ask Obi, now, what I've just told you now, I gave an example of myself. I've given you an example of Obasanjo. What is wrong with Obi?
Yeah, but let me just say this. I think you've made that.
That's what he said.
I think you've made that.
So when you now make it like you have to get a license.
I think you've made that point.
And so on and so forth. But I don't think it is
I see what you mean. But it is.
And remember, in your station, I want you saying that the state government issued a statement that what the governor implied is not to say you must take permission. Just for political purpose and security purpose. Not that they try to.
What I was going to say is this.
You prefer to ignore that denial.
Do you think I might get a word in?
The state government is afraid when he said, look, I didn't mean to say he need license.
No, I understand that. You've made the point.
That's it.
But what I'm
I think we should put it there is not what more airtime.
Yeah, what I just wanted to say is that you have explained it very articulately. And I think the problem is that there is the governor of Edo State, the current one, is not the most articulate person in the world. I mean, that's not it's not an insult or a criticism. It's just the way he is. And the way that it came across to people and the way that he communicated it to people sounded very threatening. And people don't like being threatened, especially when they see somebody who they consider to be, for many of them, their political hero being in some ways denigrated. That's the way they saw it.
Okay.
But the way that you have explained it...
Given the quality of your airtime, I don't think you should discuss it further.
Okay, well, let's...
And I think that is what it is.
I think you've made that point.
I am sure, Governor Peter Obi, whatever he wants to say, he knows that this is not a big deal. I was in Anambra, right, when he's the princess of Umbiano. Again, I was invited to give a lecture at Namjaziko University, Oka.
Yeah.
And I informed the governor, I am invited to, so I'll be coming. And He provided me with some.
No, but I think you've made the point, because we want to get to other things.
So. The only governor who may not wish to be so disturbed because of the nature of his state, I think that would be governor of Lagos State.
Right.
Because if everybody needs to inform him, for him to provide vehicles, he won't be able to, so right. We all go in and out of Lagos. But even now, I'm no more governor. Right. I am not a presidential aspirant. I'm not a presidential candidate. But as a former governor, I'm proud to reform any governor, regardless of the party platform.
Well, you just said that you've made the point, I made so we should move on. I know what so let's move on.
The governor did. He sent me vehicles, he sent me security, First, they arrived late before, by the time I arrived in Enugu, I found my way to Usuka. But his security came to pick me from Usuka.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the relationship between. I don't know what the relationship between Monday Okpebholo and Peter Obi is like. Maybe the perception is that he might not have been as convivial as the Enugu State governor was towards Peter Obi, because the way that he sounded when he was saying those things,
I think the issue is that
sounded quite antagonistic.
No, there was an incident. If there was no incident, if nothing happened at all.
Yeah, it might not have happened.
Well,
now, you may have a point.
His attention is drawn to the fact that there was an incident when former Governor Peter Obi came, and then he will have, so he was in town? Why wouldn't he inform me?
Yeah, but you see, now, you're spending a lot of time on this now. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to something else, because just yesterday, the president himself, President Tinubu, admitted that the APC governors in particular, and governors in general, aren't delivering. He talked about voluble complaints at the grassroots against the governors and said they needed to, in his words, wet the grass more and lead the way to progressive change. That's an admission that things aren't going very well on that level, aren't they? And that the hope of Nigerians simply isn't being renewed. And people are wondering, it's been 2 years of the Tinubu administration. Time has not only flown, it's flipped past. But it doesn't look as if that energy of change is there, is there? For the president to be saying that.
The energy is there. Now, this is the problem, when you should acknowledge and comment, you try to interpret it in a negative fashion. Now, for me, it's a mark of statesmanship. The president said, fortunately for us right now, in this hall, we have 23 now out of 36 state governors. And he explained that he took off that a very, very challenging environment, an economy that was in serious crisis. We are beginning to see stability. He acknowledged that more work needs to be done, but a lot of progress has been made and more work needs to be done. And he said, in spite of all the effort that he has made and the stability we are beginning to see, of course, he still hears. And for me, that should be acknowledged, that President acknowledged that he's not unaware that in spite of what anybody might say, in spite of all the positive statistics that we can point at, people still feel that things can be better. So governors, try and do more. To encourage someone to do more is not to dismiss him that is not doing anything.
No.
And I think what you should say is that he has put you out of business. Because you seek, like the last time I was here, you had to remind me that things are not perfect. Nigeria is not heaven. Now you saw the president of Nigeria saying, I am aware, which means he's in touch with the grassroots, that the ordinary man is still feeling some hit level. So can you do more? You think to ask somebody to do more is to dismiss him, is to say that he hasn't been doing anything? Well, no. What president is saying is
the statistics don't support what you're saying.
First, he's revealing to us that don't think I am not aware. I am aware that it's part of the effort the federal government is making and the effort that the state governors are making. There is still a level of stress. Please do more.
Well,
when you ask somebody to do more,
statistics don't support what you're saying.
No. It depends on your choice of statistics. Donald Trump talking about alternative facts. Don't be bogged down. But we are talking about.
I'm talking about the statistics coming from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Unit. Wait a minute. If he has the federation units, please, this is my report card. The worst time is over. We are not yet there. But I can say the worst is over. We have achieved a level of stability.
Well,
but we are not yet celebrating.
I'm not sure
and obviously,
where that stability is coming
even the
from.
best of players can say at halftime that they have won the match.
Well, let me take one thing.
You can't. If you put too many questions, I won't have time to answer.
Okay. But the problem is
And
that
I
we're
said,
running out of time because you came late.
You governors.
So we lost 8 minutes when you at the beginning of the program.
Therefore, you
so let me put some points
if
to you.
Put too many questions. I will
No, but I haven't put too many questions.
Allow me to answer the one you have put.
You've made one point about it, but you've answered the question.
I have the right to answer the question.
Okay, go ahead. But you've answered the question.
I have not.
Go ahead.
Let the viewers understand that the Nigerian president acknowledged that he took over the governance of the country at a very challenging time. And he points out that he can say from what that has happened that the worst is over. We have achieved a level of stability, and you can't question that. Exchange rate went to 2,000 naira to the dollar. People thought we are already in Zimbabwe. Now we are having stability around 1,520, 1,530. So
yeah, but that's
ridiculously high. And I have listened. I read from your watch from your channel, Manufacturers Association, NECA, talking about stability, the monetary policy. Now they can predict. They can do a bit of planning. So investors are regaining more confidence and all of that. So, however, he said, but it's part of everything.
Yeah.
I understand Nigerians are still experiencing some challenges. So, governors, together, let's do more.
Okay. Well, you've made that point.
To use this word, to wet the grass.
Yes.
This should be commendable.
Well, you've made the point.
You didn't dismiss the government.
You've made the point. But what I want to say very quickly, because unfortunately we lost a lot of time at the beginning of the program. Let's just take one thing. Foreign direct investment.
Yeah.
One of the big challenges, one of the big promises in your Renewed Hope manifesto, which I went through again today, is that you're going to attract enormous amounts of foreign direct investment. You are going to create a lot of, in fact, you are going to create an ecosystem that supports the creation of many, many jobs. You said in that manifesto that you would raise FDI to the highest level, but far from it, the central bank. So when you talk about selective statistics, this is coming from the central bank, reported that FDI in 2025 has decreased by 19.35%, with only about $250 million coming in so far. And not only did FDI decline, but there was also a significant reversal in portfolio investment, with a net divestment of more than $5 billion. That's central bank figures. And the reason given is that the government is not implementing measures to encourage international investment and address capital flight.
Measures such as what?
Well, I have to ask you that question.
No, you are the one reading. Read.
I have to ask you that question.
No. What are the measures? What are the measures?
You have to tell us.
You choose to read what I
am simply quoting what the central bank has said.
No, you see, I come from a world in which I am trained and encouraged to interrogate, to question, and to dispute.
But are you disputing that these are not?
I can dispute anything. Everything is disputable. Because you are not quoting the Bible.
But that's what the central bank said.
You are not quoting the Bible, you are not quoting the Quran. But I have also read where some international institutions, although I don't want to place much emphasis on them, because like I said in many other quarters, we have to rate ourselves that have acknowledged that the president is pursuing sensible economy policies.
Yeah, but they also criticize.
You don't allow somebody to finish.
No, well, go ahead.
Because you want to talk to yourself, why do you invite me?
Go
they also said, they also said, therefore I shouldn't say what they say first.
Go ahead, please.
Fine. So they've acknowledged that he has removed a lot of some of the disincentives where you have two classes of Nigerians where in the name of business you can access, depending on your connections, exchange rate at a certain margin. And I be the ordinary man on the street. I go for that exchange rate. I buy what you call black. There's nothing black about that market. It's an efficient market. But the margin is almost 100%. which is why a lot of people didn't need to work. All you needed is to have connection, and you become multi-billion rich, which distort our value system. And you hear young people saying, it is not what you know that matters, it is who you know. When you see young people are not so young, making money without any business address, that has been eliminated. How you buy your dollar, how I buy my dollar is not the same market. That is huge. This president could have decided to continue with the old business. But when you quote what we said in the manifesto, and I don't, you did just selectively quote it, did we say this will be done at 24 months? Did you say that?
I am simply quoting.
Now,
well, you asked me
you
a
can
question.
quote it. So if you are
but you asked me a
quoting
question,
full,
let me answer.
Quoting full. I was Deputy Director General of the campaign, right? We didn't say at halftime, this is what it's going to be.
No, I was simply
And
quoting.
I also know that in the reward, and even in your station, right? We don't assess you based on, for your morning show to, is it lunchtime? We take the whole day view to say, this is our pressure of Arise TV.
Yeah, it's called
Halftime is not
content
the basis,
analysis.
because we know even in sports,
Yeah.
you can be 3 goals down. Nigeria made that history, was it between Nigeria and Russia?
Yeah, but what I was talking
When
about
3
was
goes
foreign
down, at full
direct
time,
investment. I wasn't giving the broadest assessment. I was simply taking one thing, foreign direct
Let me also
investment,
take another
to
one
show
thing.
that it's been declining.
Let me take another one thing.
Well, I can take a
This
number of
country
other
is
things
no
if
longer
you want. There's electricity.
Spending a lot of money importing refined products. Nigeria, for the first time, is selling crude to a Nigerian refiner in Naira. And we are beginning to see competition in which a private refiner is selling product less than NNPC and giving NNPC a run for their money. NNPC is beginning to sweat. They no longer have that monopoly. Now, there is a policy environment that allows this heavy competition to take place. That policy environment is presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You can't deny that.
Well,
I'm beginning to see Nigerians saying, if you go to Dangote, just I think last month, he announced that he is going to deliver product directly to consumers and eliminate middlemen and drop the price. Now, this was not a kind of competition that existed before.
Yeah, but we're not
it takes a policy
we're
now,
talking about foreign direct
to,
investment. I mean, I took a specific thing and I wanted to
took what suits you. I'm taking what suits me. Yeah, it's a choice. You have to take the policy framework in basket.
No.
Holistically. You don't pick one. If you pick one, I'll pick the other.
Well, you certainly
in any case,
have you've picked the other.
Now, from what you are saying, you never gave me a set of questions in advance so that I can
well, we don't normally do that.
You
I mean,
alternative set of
we don't normally do that.
If
you're a member of the APC, you would have all the, and in fact, you were the person who helped to design that manifesto. You'd have all these things on your fingertips.
It's okay. But I've told you, we didn't say at halftime.
Well, look, I have to...
We did not say at halftime.
Yeah, okay.
But you have to agree that many things have changed.
Well, there's a lot more...
We are beginning to achieve price stability.
There's a lot more
There's
I'd like
renewed
to talk
confidence
to you
in the
about.
economy.
Yeah.
Everything is not 100%, but we can say, and it is true, that the worst is over.
Okay.
There's
Well, you can say that.
At halftime.
I couldn't possibly comment on that.
No, you have never said that. You have not been too generous in scoring the government. That is the fact. Everybody knows you for that.
Well, the latest person on the street poll scored the government 3 out of 10 so far.
Did you people not score Obi as the winner of the election?
How do you mean?
In the end, even Atiku had more vote than Obi. Did you not score him as a winner?
No, we didn't conduct a poll. We simply reported a poll.
When you put polls that the authors are not known, they have no credibility, what value am I supposed to place on that?
Well,
but the truth of the matter is, whether you acknowledge it or not, things are a lot better now than they were just a year ago.
Okay.
Because it tried to restructure the system and redirect the economy, carry out the kind of surgery that had to be done, a very complicated economic surgery. The patient has to experience some initial serious pains before it gets stabilized. Now the patient is stabilized.
Yeah, but
we are expecting that the patient will get back on the
well, we're out of time. The key point here is that it's the same APC government that went from 2015 and right now to
beyond that. Now,
2025.
if
So
you want
we
to
look
pin
at
me to
you
that,
as a
let me remind you,
10-year
I watched your program
government
earlier in the day.
and not
You were
a
talking on
2-year
one
government.
because democracy did start with APC in 1990, it started with PDP. By the time they exited in 2016, the PDP had a debate which you have refused to use. It is because you covered it, where they said they want to change their name because of the way they mismanage the country. Other PDP oil was selling at $140 a barrel. No government has had the opportunity of such huge revenue for 16 unbroken years.
Well, it wasn't,
and you are
wasn't
suggesting
like
to
that
me
for
now that the
16
2
years.
years, the PDP couldn't fix it 16 years, that Tinubu could have fixed it in 2 years.
No, I'm not
How
talking
fair
about
are you?
Tinubu. I'm talking about a
As
10-year
APC,
period of
okay.
APC.
Also give
not
us
Tinubu
also
alone.
give us 60 years, then you score.
Right, okay. On
60
that
years,
note,
60 years, then you draw a line.
On that note, Senator Adams Oshiomhole, CON, representing Edo North in the Senate, former national chairman of the APC, former governor of Edo State, and former president of the Nigeria Labour Congress. Thank you very much indeed. I'm sorry we started a bit late. Next time we'll be sure to give you more time, but it's really good to talk with you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having me.